I'll never forget the day I stood frozen, watching a woman I barely knew pour a can of Pepsi into my daughter's ventilator with a smirk that still haunts my dreams. "People like you don't belong here," she spat, as my 9-year-old Lily gasped for air. That woman, the HOA president, is now facing federal charges and could spend 15 years behind bars. But what she didn't know was that I'd been documenting every cruel move she'd made against us for 6 months. It all started with a tiny oak tree Lily named Faith. This is the story of a mother who'd burned the world down to protect her child, and a community that finally stood up to a monster. Last spring, Lily and I moved into Crest Vyew Heights, a pristine neighborhood I thought would be our sanctuary. After years as a single mom to a child with a chronic lung condition, I'd landed a promotion at my tech job, managing corporate accounts. The raise meant we could afford a house in this upscale community, with clean air and parks perfect for Lily's health. Born needing a portable ventilator, Lily never let it dim her spark. Her mind was sharp, her love for nature boundless. When we moved in, she begged to plant a tree in our backyard, something to watch grow on days her breathing kept her indoors. For a kid who relied on oxygen, trees weren't just pretty, they were life. After her 3rd grade science class taught her how plants purify air, she became obsessed. For her 9th birthday, 2 weeks after we settled in, I surprised her with a small oak sapling. Her joy was electric as we planted it together, her ventilator humming softly. She named it Faith, whispering, "This is the best gift ever, Mom." That night, she fell asleep clutching an oak leaf, happier than I'd seen her in months. But that simple act of love unleashed a nightmare named Helen Carter, our HOA president. The next morning, a sharp knock interrupted breakfast. Helen stood on my porch, 60, dressed in a tailored blazer, her face pinched like she'd smelled something rotten. Without a hello, she thrust a binder at me. "You planted a tree without HOA approval," she snapped, pointing to a highlighted rule: no landscaping changes without permission. I explained I didn't know, mentioning Lily's condition, hoping for empathy. I gestured to Lily at the table, her ventilator steady. Helen's eyes flicked to her, cold and dismissive. "Rules are rules. Families with issues like yours belong in special facilities, not Crest Vyew." Her gaze lingered on the ventilator. "That machine's noisy. Ever think how it bothers neighbors?" My stomach churned. Before I could respond, she barked, "Remove the tree in 48 hours or face fines," and stormed off. Our neighbor, Tom Rivera, saw it all. Later, he brought over brownies his wife baked and a warning. "Helen's been terrorizing families for years," he said. As HOA president for 15 years, she ruled like a dictator, driving out anyone who didn't fit her vision of perfection. "She twists rules to harass people," he cautioned. "Read the bylaws." That night, I found an email from Helen, a formal violation notice with photos of Faith like it was evidence of a crime. But the bylaws also mentioned reasonable accommodations for medical needs. Lily, noticing my worry, asked, "Is Faith in trouble, Mom?" I promised we'd keep her tree, not knowing the war I'd just declared. I contacted my friend, Laura Nguyen, a disability rights lawyer. She confirmed Faith could stay under the Americans with Disabilities Act if it supported Lily's mental health. "Document everything," she urged. That night, Tom texted me security footage from his camera, showing Helen sneaking into our yard at midnight, pouring liquid around Faith's base. By morning, the tree's leaves were wilting. Lily's heartbreak was unbearable. "Is Faith sick like me?" she asked. I lied, saying trees need time to adjust, while flushing the soil and replacing it, suspecting herbicide. With help from neighbors Sarah and Mike Evans, whose basketball hoop Helen had banned, I installed cameras around our property. Helen's attacks intensified. Violation notices piled up, trash sorting, parking, even Lily's ventilator, which she claimed was too loud. Each carried fines, a financial noose to force us out. I countered with letters citing ADA protections, but Helen's obsession grew. Lily's nurse, Carla Mendez, reported Helen stalking us, watching our house, following Lily to the mailbox, even suggesting she'd be happier in a special school. Then, Sarah's camera caught Helen spraying something into our air vents at 3 a.m. The next day, Lily had a severe asthma attack, landing us in the ER. Dr. Rachel Kim, her pulmonologist, was baffled. "Something triggered this," she said. I showed the footage to Officer Dan Miller, who dismissed it as a neighbor dispute. Frustrated, I kept gathering evidence. Then, a retired teacher, George Ellis, revealed Helen's past. Her son, who had a lung condition like Lily's, died 15 years ago at 11. Her husband left soon after, and Helen's grief twisted into an obsession with perfect neighbors. She'd driven out 4 families with disabled kids, George said, ashamed he'd stayed silent. Helen saw Lily as a mirror of her pain and lashed out. The stress took a toll on Lily, more breathing episodes, insomnia, fear of the mean lady. Dr. Kim wrote a letter stating faith was vital for Lily's mental health, which I presented at an HOA meeting. Flanked by Laura, I faced Helen and the board. I explained Lily's needs, the ADA, and handed out Dr. Kim's letter. Helen exploded. "This is manipulation. One family's problems can't ruin our property values." But neighbors, led by board member James Lee, pushed back, voting to pause action on faith pending review. Helen stormed out, humiliated. Laura warned she'd escalate. That night, a rock crashed through our window with a note. "Tree goes or you go." Officer Miller finally acted, securing a restraining order. 3 days later, Lily's principal called. Helen, posing as her aunt, tried to pull Lily from school, claiming a medical emergency. The school's guard, Officer Luis Gomez, stopped her, but she fled. I rushed Lily home, shaken. That evening, as Carla wheeled Lily home from a doctor's visit, she called me, frantic. "Helen's here with a soda can, blocking us." I dialed 911, racing to the neighborhood entrance. Multiple cameras, Carla's phone, the Evans dashcam, Tom's security, captured what happened next. Helen, unhinged, her hair wild, blocked Lily's wheelchair, screaming about sick kids ruining Crest View. "You think you can stay with your broken child?" she sneered, pulling out a Pepsi can. With a chilling smile, she poured it into Lily's ventilator. "Let's see how this cleans her air." Lily gasped as the machine sputtered. Carla disconnected it, switching to a backup ventilator just as Tom and Mike arrived. Mike restrained Helen, Tom helped Carla. I reached them as paramedics did, Lily blue and terrified. She survived, but Dr. Eric Parks said without the backup she'd have died. Police arrested Helen, who ranted it was a joke. FBI agent Lisa Morgan arrived that night. "This is a potential hate crime," she said. A search of Helen's home uncovered a diary detailing plans to harm Lily and other disabled residents, plus evidence of a similar attack 5 years ago. Helen had stalked every disabled person in Crest View, ranking their threat to property values. A psychological evaluation diagnosed a severe personality disorder, fueled by her son's death. Charges piled up: attempted murder, hate crime, assault, stalking, ADA violations. The trial was a media storm. Videos of the attack went viral, exposing HOA abuses. A mother, Diane Foster, testified Helen drove her autistic son's family out years ago with similar tactics. The FBI found Helen had targeted families across state lines, giving them jurisdiction. Her diary, with entries like "sabotage breathing de VYC," sealed her fate. Despite her defense claiming mental illness, the jury convicted her in hours. Judge Margaret Lee sentenced her to 15 years, calling her a danger to society. As Helen was led away, she hissed at me, "This isn't over." That night, someone cut down Faith, Leah viewing a stump. Lily's silent grief broke me. "They killed Faith, Mom," she whispered. But the next day, James Lee called an HOA meeting in the community garden. Residents ousted Helen's allies, electing Tom as president and Sarah as VYC president. They passed a bylaw banning disability discrimination. That weekend, neighbors arrived with 15 oak saplings, planting Faith Grove in our yard. Lily, from her wheelchair, helped water them, her smile returning. Helen's niece, Amy Carter, apologized, revealing Helen's untreated mental illness after her son's death. A reporter, Michael Chin, covered the story, sparking state laws mandating ADA compliance for HOAs. Helen, in prison, sent an apology after therapy, which I've kept from Lily. A year later, Lily's health is better, her grove thriving as Lily's Faith Garden, a haven for kids with respiratory issues. Lily leads a kids' gardening club, her confidence blooming. Bad people don't win forever, she told me, watering her oaks. From one tree grew a forest, from one mother's fight, a legacy of justice.